explode rapidly here, and the interesting one now, will they continue on? Will Contador start taking it up as soon as his man peels off the front here? Because if he does, well, then I think we're going to see much more riders in a little bit of difficulty. General classification men I talk about earlier on in this early stage of the race.
This is fascinating. First real climb of the Vuelta a España with, let's just concentrate on the main favourites here at the moment. Alberto Contador second in line with Christopher Froome just behind him. Then Joaquim Rodriguez of Katusha. Daniel Moreno, his teammate, also super climber himself, is right behind him. So two Katusha men up towards the front. You can see them there. That's Nicolas Roche, by the way, from AG2R, not Jean Gadret. It's Roche right up at the front here. There's Gadret just going underneath the banner saying Navarra with 6 kilometers to go. And Froome turning a little bit of a bigger gear than Contador, not much. The pace has slowed just a little. Now Contador has the whole weight of everything on his shoulder here. Froome's just looking back at them to see who is going to make the first move, and he's now got some support, as has Alberto Contador. Robert Helsinki is also in this group. There's the leader, Jonathan Castrovello. And he's already said he's not a natural climber and would expect to suffer today on the mountain. He'll limit his losses as the best that he can. This is, well, you said it.
Menchov keeping the race leader company there.
Yeah. Dennis, a double winner of the Vuelta a España himself. Nice to see Nicolas Roche up here, Sean. Climbing, it seems okay. Seems to be happy at this pace. He followed the pace when it went hard.
Yes, well, it's nice to see him up to the fore here, because it is a very aggressive start into the climb, and if you can do that, well, I think it shows that the form is good. And always the first climb in a big tour so early, it can be a little bit difficult, and we can see there's a number of riders in difficulty, but a lot of the favourites here we could see the Rabobank riders there. I could see Kissing was hanging about the front. Joaquim Rodriguez was very much up there, so most of the big favourites I think are in this leading group of what, 25 riders at the moment.
There is Jonathan Gadret, John Gadret. And he's off the back here. Not having a good time, Gadret, today. His teammate Nicolas Roche is further up the climb. Sky have some very good climbers to support Chris Froome. That is what they have brought. Sergio Henio, Richie Porte, Rigoberto Oran, and it is Henio who is doing the work. Ooh, getting a bit of a switch there from Laurens ten Dam. If I was making a team up, we've had this sort of fantasy team. Who would you buy for your fantasy team? He's a man I would put in the team. Laurens ten Dam. He's always consistent. This is Juan Jose Cobo suffering the pace as well. Would suggest, Sean, that the pace is pretty high at the front there.
Yes, it certainly is. We can see Montfort also there, hanging a bit to the rear, and it is very high. We can see that it's around the 7 kilometers from the moment that Saxo Bank and Tossato really rode into the climb at a very fast rate, and then they continued on. It hasn't really slowed up at all. There was a moment there when the Saxo Bank rider peeled off. Contador looked about, but there was immediately some riders came to the front and kept the pace quite high, and we can see here, you have that 25 riders, maybe a little bit more, but gaps everywhere, riders struggling. We can see here in our shop they're just two and three bike lengths off each other and just fighting to make it back into this leading group.
Laurens ten Dam, followed by Alejandro Valverde, Sergio Henio, is the Sky rider.
An attack by Valverde.
Oh. Well, Valverde, who's insisted on riding the Vuelta a España, is trying to up the pace a little bit. He's a former winner of the Vuelta, and Contador's going after him. Alberto Contador looks over his shoulder, and he's putting distance between himself and some of the other riders behind. Nicholas Roach can't live with that pace. Joaquim Rodriguez is okay. But Chris Froome is having to dig in here, Sean, by the look of it.
Yes, certainly have to dig in. He's what, 2-3 bike lengths off here, and you know, it's just fighting a bit. Gets back in here, and again he is you know, looking around here, and maybe he was just making the calculation, not try and follow that big attack by Contador and Valverde, but he's very much up here with Joaquim Rodriguez. So 4 leaders at the moment, and again looking at each other. So this will be an opportunity for the other ones to get back in.
Yeah, and it looks like Igor Anton, who's pushing the pace to try and get back to the rear wheel at the moment of Alberto Contador. He's just dropped to the back of this little group, forcing Froome to come and do the pace setting. That suits Contador absolutely perfectly, because he can sit there, just take a little tiny bit of a break as the pace goes down. And I think Froome knows it. He wants to pull over, let somebody else do the work, Sean.
Well, it's also depend on how you're feeling.
Here he goes again. Here he goes again, and that's a big one. That's a stinging little dig there. Joaquim Rodriguez will be able to go with that one. Who can? Whoop, Froome's distanced. Oh, Christopher Froome is having to fight tooth and nail to get back up here. He's showing he's got some ability, but he doesn't seem to have quite the kick of Alberto Contador. That was a good piece of riding by Froome to get back up there, because Contador is the master of those attacks.
Yes, well, Contador, he's the killer when he puts in them big attacks, and depending on how you're feeling, Froome may be not feeling at his best, so making the calculation when Contador go in the attack, not, you know, staying in the wheel, just come back a little bit slower, and he's just been doing that now for the second time he's done that. But maybe that he's not feeling just really strong, and you make that calculation, because if you try and match Contador at every attack, well, then you can pay for later.
Yeah, quite. So Contador do this in Giro d'Italia, Mount Etna. Just a little stinging attack after stinging attack, and eventually it kills everybody off. Rigoberto Urán comes up, silver medalist from the Olympic Games, a very talented rider. Comes up to give Chris Froome some sort of support and just dictate the pace a little bit. Keep the pace high, but at the pace they want to achieve. They're under the 4 kilometers to go banner, and they're at 3.5 now. And Urán trying to give some sort of order to this, Sean, I think.
Yes, and you know, possibly that Christopher Froome just likes, you know, a strong pace, that sudden attacks. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable with that, and if that is the case, well, then push it. If you've got a teammate here, and that's the thing with Sky, we can see there's another man in here, just 3 or 4 from the rear, so they've got the numbers here at the moment, and put a man on the front, continue a very high pace, and that will certainly, you know, stop the other riders from pushing the big attacks, as we see from Contador.
It's allowed them to come back together a little bit. Rigoberto Urán leads Christopher Froome of Sky with the blue band down the back, and then it's Alejandro Valverde in the green helmet of Movistar. Alberto Contador has put in 2 stinging little attacks. Nicholas Roach for AG2R Le Mondial is up here, but he seems to be suffering a little bit. Joaquim Rodriguez and Daniel Moreno, both for Katusha in this group. Rabobank's Bolka Malema is in here. Robert Hessink is also here, the 2 Rabobank climbers. I can see Andrew Talansky at the back here for Garmin is still in there. Looks like the pace is up again in the front, and it's Alberto Contador once again. Who's going to go with him this time? Oh, another big one. It's Joaquim Rodriguez and Valverde fighting for this one. Froome, he's just having to sit in the saddle and pedal as hard as he can, Sean. He hasn't got the ability today, on this particular mountain today, to be able to get out the saddle and match those pedal strokes.
No, and the interesting one in the Tour of France, Froome was the one that was able to put in that little bit more acceleration. We see him on occasion, but here it's a different situation with Contador. We know the way he can just put in these really explosive attacks. And Froome, for the moment, you know, he's just allowing the gap to open 5-6 bike lengths at times, and then coming back at his own pace. Again, he's, you know, made it back in here, and Contador really putting in fierce attacks here. But for me, Valverde looks very comfortable. He seemed to be the one able to come back there quite comfortable. As we know, Joaquim Rodriguez, he is the one who is very, very fast in this style of finish. But again, the final 2 kilometers, I think Valverde might be the one with the better sprint of the top, the leaders, the top 4 or 5 riders we have in the front end of the peloton.
Nicolas Roche now going to the front, trying to push it on. Igor Anton just behind him with Christopher Froome. And Contador again sits behind Froome. He's got that chance to just regroup a little bit. Once again, Valverde, Hessink and Mollema for Rabobank in it. Back to go towards the back of this little group as Igor Anton ups the pace here. He's a danger man on this hill. Oh, look at the way Contador can respond. He's just going to go flying past him. And Anton looks at him and goes, I can't do anything about that. Oh. That is aggression beyond aggression. That is brilliant stuff. And he's making it a little bit longer each time, Sean. Every time he goes, he makes it a little bit longer.
Yes, really pushing on here, and these ones are, you know, real fierce attacks, and we're coming to, you know, 2.5 kilometers. At the 2 kilometers, it does ease off a bit, and he knows that, where he has to put in a real big one here, and that certainly was the biggest of them all.
Fantastic form from Alberto Contador, but you have to say, and he's going to go again here. Equally brilliant form it looks for Alejandro Valverde, Joaquim Rodriguez, and all credit to Christopher Froome, because he is digging in and hanging on in there. He simply doesn't have the kick today on this hill of Alberto Contador, but he is just hanging in there for grim death at the moment. Just coming up to nearly 2 kilometers to go. Contador's trying to kill him. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to kill him.
Yes, well, he sees that he has him in a bit of difficulty, and you know, he is really pushing on here, and we can see Froome, of course, he will get back in here, because now we're coming to the 2 kilometers to go, and at this point it eases off a bit. The percentage is not anything as it has been in the past number of kilometers, so, you know, I think he's got through. He should be able to hold on with these leaders now, as we you know, we can see here, it is percentage is easing off quite a lot.
Well done. Well done, Christopher Froome. I bet that hurt. What a fantastic stage, Sean. Absolutely brilliant racing.
Well, of course, Contador always, you know, he is. We've seen him in the past, you know, he just gets so aggressive when there's a mountaintop finish. He's just a super rider, and he makes the race so interesting. And he's the one, if we had not Contador in here today, we would have, you know, a lot of, you know, marking each other, the big favourites, who would go on the attack. But as we have seen, that them 3-4 big attacks, impressive from Contador.
Are we seeing the 4 riders who are going to contest this Vuelta a España as early as stage 3?
Well, I think it's an indicator, you know, who the riders are going to be up in this fight for the overall classification. Again, you know, we can see here there's going to be a little bit of rivalry here between the 4, and you know, the chasing group, they're not going to lose a lot on this one. So, but yeah, indications, the 4 men leading we have here, they look very impressive today.
Here he goes again. Look at this. He's going on the right-hand side of the road. 1 kilometer to go. And it's flat. Let's not forget he's a superb time trialist. He's trying everything here. I'm not really sure why he attacked then, but even so, he's just got the bit between his teeth. And this is a very select group of riders. Igor Anton, Rigoberto Urán in this group. Look at this, Sean. This is absolutely incredible. They are all attacking each other on this little descent here. I think the aggression of Alberto Contador sort of infected everybody else here. They're going for the win now, the run into the finish. 300 meters to go, and it's Joaquim Rodriguez who's going for the sprint win and the 20 seconds bonus. Valverde's in slightly better position if he can get around him. Here we go into the final. And Valverde going to come past him. Oh, that's close. Not sure who that was. Joaquin Rodriguez or Alejandro Valverde, and the finish line just sort of crept up on you really quick there. Wow. What a finish. Rodriguez or Alejandro Valverde. We could toss a coin on that one, Sean, I think.
Yes, it was. I think Rodriguez, for me, just about holds on, but you know, they really went for it in that final 2 kilometers. Contador going in the attack, and Rodriguez taking it up early. They all wanted to be leader into this final straight. We could see Valverde wanted to be on the front, but Rodriguez wasn't having it and took to the front, what, 350 meters out.
Yes, maybe just Joaquin Rodriguez just about taking that. It's very, very questionable. Just chucking the bikes into the last corner. What an incredible finish.
What a kamikaze finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Valverde.
Ooh. Oh, you couldn't slip a Rizzler between them, could you? Well, they'll be sorting that out for ages. This is Spain, after all. I'm sure of it.
Joaquin Rodriguez, of course, general classification, he was 15 seconds down. So with Alexandro Valverde, if he does not get stage victory, he gets second on the stage, he will still move into leadership.
Yes, because being part of the all-conquering Movistar team time trial team. And I think everybody knows that as well, so they're all running alongside him. Pressel will be after him. But that was a mighty, mighty finish. What a great climb to put in so early on, Sean. And it does seem to have been the case over the last 2-3 years. As is Menchov's just come in, you can see him on the other side of the road. It does seem to be the case that as they put these short, sharp, aggressive little finishes in the last 2-3 years, in early stages in Grand Tours, we get this spectacular racing.
Yes, well, spectacular certainly is the word for today's stage, and that final 5 kilometers, which was really aggressive racing. Great for our viewers, but not so maybe for some of the riders that need a little bit more time to get into the race. And we could see there Menchov was in difficulty very early, and you know, I think there was a few other riders there who lost a bit of time, and maybe not the real picture, because as the race go on, you know, they will get into the rhythm a bit more. But certainly a spectacular finish here on this hilltop, mountaintop finish.
Well, the cameras are focusing on Alejandro Valverde. He'll take the leader's jersey for sure, but who got the stage win? I've got a feeling it was Valverde, actually. Very close, though. Joaquin Rodriguez will be mightily dischuffed at that. What about that man Alberto Contador then, Sean? Bertie is back for sure.
Well, very impressive there. You know, he so aggressive on that final climb, so early in the race. He has to be feeling real good to be able to do that so early.
Only 4 men left to contest at the end. Joaquin Rodriguez, Alejandro Valverde, Alberto Contador and Chris Froome. Hanging in there, grim death at times, just didn't quite have the kick of the other 3 riders, but a really good ride to stay in with those 4 and finishing well in the end. That was a really good going by Chris Froome, but I tell you what, he almost got a big Bertie battering, didn't he? Because that's what he was there for.
Bueno, yo creo que ha sido un triunfo muy trabajado. La gente iba muy nerviosa, empezaba a subir súper atrás, he podido remontar como he podido, ahí a tope.
So thanks very much. Very nervous race, I've done everything I could.
Ya hemos roto todo bastante y bueno, Alberto era un ataque con
uno con otro,
ahí hemos aguantado bien.
¿Cómo te has planteado ese final, ese último kilómetro?
Alberto and I were just going at it hammer and tongs all the time, and
lo tenía más reciente y lo deja que pasara.
Last kilometer was the question.
Pero no he desesperado y he seguido hasta meta.
I didn't know it particularly. I knew it was going to be very hard to climb, so I just did everything I could. Well, that's a pretty standard type of answer. Everybody looking slightly confused at the finish. I'm not surprised. They went hell for leather through over that. I really didn't expect it to be quite that an aggressive race, Sean. I really didn't. I thought maybe Alberto Contador, he looked pretty good in the Eneco Tour on his way back, and we know he's an aggressive rider, but that's probably Valverde taking the win. Yes, indeed, ahead of Rodriguez and Christopher Froome, then Alberto Contador. Then Moreno, Mollema, Eros Kopecky, in Charlesty, Talansky and Robert Hessink round out the top 10. They came in 6 seconds down. I thought Contador looked reasonably good at Eneco, Sean, but I didn't expect him to be that aggressive that early. He really is a proper racer, isn't he?
Well, he's amazing, you know. He gets so aggressive when it's a mountaintop finish, and a relatively short one for Contador, but again, you know, he just put in so much big attacks there, and the ones he was putting in, they weren't just little tests, they were real big attacks, and we could see there Froome was in difficulty, and the rest, of course, were in major difficulty. So he has to be feeling really strong, because when you're coming back after not racing for a long time, you're a little bit concerned about your form. You're just waiting to see what the other riders will do on the final kilometres of the climb. Contador, not at all. He was the one very earlier on, just started. The team, you know, prepared the road for him, and then he immediately sprung into action.
I count 6 attacks from Contador on that climb. 4 in the climb itself, and 2 on the flat bit. Which would be remarkable. I mean, why on earth he would attack on the flat, other than to try and go for the stage? We're going to put get those extra seconds bonus and show his rivals he is that strong. Amazing piece of riding by all 4 men. Well done to the others for just being within 6 seconds, frankly. And Christopher Froome, Sean, impressive. I think so. I don't think he was on possibly the super form we've seen him for the Tour de France, but of course he's got that in his legs, and he probably might be feeling that. Contador's a lot fresher.
Well, yes.
There's that aspect as well, I suppose.
Yes, there is a lot of points there, and of course when you come out to Tour de France Olympics, you would expect Froome maybe to be a bit more fresher in the earlier part of this race. That would be my calculation, because Contador, you know, I haven't raced a lot, but again it seemed to the other way around, and Contador was, you know, very confident there with the big attacks he was putting in. He had to be feeding real well to, you know, attack on the first mountaintop finish in the race, and it will be interesting to see if he continues on at that rate, and every mountaintop finish, if it's the same tactic, well then it's going to cause a lot of problems, and there's so many riders not going to be able to match the pace at all, as we see as early as today.
Afraid so. Big stick's going to come out from Alberto Contador. Well, we mustn't read too much into it. It's only 3 stages into the Vuelta a España, but brilliant entertainment. And a fantastic finish. Brilliant climb to do it on as well. Must have more of that, please. In fact, let's put it in every race, even if it's not in this country. Alejandro Valverde leads overall ahead of teammate Benyat in Charlesty. Joaquim Rodriguez in 3rd spot, Chris Froome in 4th, 20 seconds back, and then Contador, Volker Mollema, Robert Hessink, Rigoberto Urán, Daniel Moreno and Igor Anton round out the top 10. Anton at 46 seconds, in Charlesty at 18, back from his team leader, or his teammate Alejandro Valverde, 19 to Rodriguez. Good day for Nicolas Roche, I think, Sean. Just lost a little bit towards the end. Again, if you're looking for somebody with a massive punch in the high climbs, Nicolas Roche isn't it.
No, and we could see today he was there, but when the big attacks came from Contador, he was in difficulty.